This girl had a huge gash on her arm, and it was actually closed with staples. The shocked doctor asked if she had been abused by her foster parents. The girl said her foster parents treated her very well, and it was just a small wound she could handle on her own, so she had stitched it up herself. The doctor said they would need to give her an anesthetic before removing the staples. She said it wasn't necessary and then began pulling out the staples with her hands. Amazed, the doctor asked why she didn't feel pain. She said she had superpowers. Intrigued, the doctor suggested a contest. They both put their hands in ice water, and whoever couldn't endure it first would lose. While the doctor cried out in pain and lost, the girl remained completely unfazed. She explained that she couldn't feel any pain at all. At school, to prove this, she once let a classmate punch her in the stomach 25 times, and on one occasion, she was even hit with a baseball bat. The doctor immediately arranged for the girl to undergo tests. The results showed that she had internal bleeding. They finally realized that the girl wasn't being abused by her foster parents, but instead, she suffered from congenital insensitivity to pain. Her condition was dangerous, and she urgently needed surgery. But then the girl ran away and hid. Took the doctors a long time to find her. She explained that she didn't want the surgery because her family couldn't afford it, and she feared they might abandon her because of the cost. The doctor reassured her.
Dude, that's stupid. They got their own personal superhero. Nobody sends back a superhero.
In the end, the surgery was successfully performed, and the girl finally regained her health. This pregnant woman fainted during a yoga class and was taken to the hospital. The doctors conducted a series of tests on her. When they told her that her fetus was 5 months old, she responded in confusion, saying she was already 8 months pregnant and wondering if the machine was faulty. It turned out she was a vegetarian and avoided all genetically modified foods. She only ate organic produce from local farms and even restricted her diet to manage the baby's blood sugar levels. She refused to undergo ultrasound scans, claiming they would harm the fetus. Due to insufficient protein and iron intake, her fetus was severely underdeveloped. Without enough nutrients, the fetus was at risk of dying in the womb. The doctor warned that if her condition continued to deteriorate, a C-section would be necessary. To prevent this, intravenous nutrition was needed to ensure the baby's health before delivery.
Not giving me IV food. So you're not going to pump them full of toxins and chemicals. It is my job to keep it absolutely pure. That is how I'm protecting it.
Even if her refusal of a C-section could lead to the baby's death. However, the hospital's ethics committee ruled that the doctors could not intervene against her will. The next day, Dr. Manning secretly added glucose and amino acids to the woman's fore. This made the woman furious, and she threw Dr. Manning out of the room. Later, Dr. Manning returned to the room to apologize. She then urged the woman, saying that if fear overrides reason, it will surely end badly. Once a mother creates life, she must be responsible for it. Manning explained that as a mother herself, she fully understood what it's like to have to overcome personal fears for the sake of one's child. Hearing this, the woman forgave her. Soon after, the woman's arrhythmia began to spiral out of control. After an internal struggle, she finally agreed to the C-section.
What are they putting in him?
Proteins, carbohydrates, fats. He needs them to grow.
The frail 3-year-old boy was suffering from a mysterious illness. For several weeks, his legs had been too weak to stand, and he had mild paralysis. Now, he also had bleeding and ulcerated gums. After x-rays and blood tests, the doctors found that apart from mild anemia, everything seemed normal. They suspected the boy had lead poisoning or had been abused. However, after conducting more in-depth tests, they found that the boy's condition was gradually improving. Puzzled, they prepared to question the boy's mother. In the hospital room, the boy accidentally spilled his chocolate milk. The doctor asked what else the boy liked to eat. She said, chocolate milk and whole wheat cookies. She then explained that, because she couldn't afford a caregiver, she had to rely on neighbors or relatives to take care of her son during the day. Working 2 jobs meant she wouldn't get home until 8 p.m. Many times, she didn't even know what her son ate for lunch. At that moment, the doctor seemed to have found the answer. They tested the boy's vitamin C levels and discovered they were far below normal. Turned out the boy had scurvy. In developed countries, this disease is almost unheard of, as it can easily be prevented with a balanced diet. Dr. Manning began to accuse the mother of inaction. The mother countered that she had been doing everything in her power to earn money to support her child. She said she would do anything to protect her child, and no one had the right to judge her without understanding the full story. Dr. Manning left the room in frustration, but in truth, she was angry at herself. As a doctor, she too spent very little time with her own child. The mother's helplessness and frustration deeply affected her. The next day, she returned to the room and apologized to the boy's mother. When she heard that Dr. Manning also constantly worried about raising her own child, the boy's mother forgave her. This vegetative girl was admitted to the hospital because she had blood in her urine. Dr. Manning ran various tests on her and discovered that she was 10 weeks pregnant. But it's been 5 years since the girl became a vegetable. The doctor was shocked and immediately reported it to the police. Police say they are investigating all employees of the girl's affiliation. The doctor explained that the sexual assault evidence kit could only collect DNA from within the past 5 days. The officer said that in past cases like this, the perpetrator may have been assaulting the girl regularly, possibly even daily. The girl's parents soon arrived at the hospital. The doctor explained the situation to them. The mother said that although it was unfortunate, she wanted the girl to have the baby. It was the only part of their daughter they could still have. The doctor warned that completing the pregnancy could be fatal for someone in a vegetative state. There was a significant chance she could die. The mother replied that if she died because of it, it would be a kind of mercy. The next day, while the doctors were discussing the girl's condition, Dr. Manning noticed the girl's eyes moved. She tried to communicate with the girl, but there was no response. Another doctor explained that it was just a reflex, common in vegetative patients. Determined, Dr. Manning consulted a neurosurgeon to conduct specialized tests on the girl. During the tests, they discovered that the girl could move her eyes. Turned out she wasn't in a coma after all. She had a condition called locked-in syndrome. She was paralyzed from a stroke but remained fully conscious. In other words, she had been aware of everything for the past 5 years, including the time she was assaulted. Upon hearing this, the parents were devastated. The doctor expressed deep sympathy for what the girl had been through. But the good news was that she had a chance to regain some motor function. She could even use an infrared eye tracking device to communicate with her parents via a computer.